guy. We got to get into the business and the money.
Okay? Yeah. I love, we're the Forbes. We'll keep it light.
So tell me about the start of your rap career.
Right.
What was that hustle like?
I don't even think it was a start. I think it was a blurred line because basically, I'm a street guy, and I was hanging out with some more street guys, and they was doing music, and I kind of picked up on it, right? But a lot of people didn't know that, music has always been something I love, a talent, if you will. But business has always been my passion. Like, I always knew what the finished product would look like with me. You know what I'm saying?
You said always. When did always start?
I always saw myself in a 3-piece suit, night, good skin, plain Jane watch, wedding band. Like, I knew that was what the end goal was going to be, no matter what. And I knew I couldn't get there straight from the streets to where I was trying to go. So music was the segue. It was a bridge, right? It's what brought it all together, because I understood early, because I came into the music game as a CEO, so I signed other people. But when that didn't work and all the money was spent, now I got to think like a CEO. So all the money's gone. What do? You don't got any artists anymore. You got a studio. You got to do it yourself. So that's when I began to get in the booth and start doing music myself, because I understood it, because I love music, coming up. Like, there's nothing about music you can tell me.
I remember you took that radio.
Yeah. You feel me? So I loved music, and I was like, well, my man said, you should do it. And I was just like, all right. So I started getting in the booth. Of course, it took years and years and years, but and that's one thing people probably don't know about me. Like, my discipline and dedication is crazy. Like, it's unreal. It's unmatched.
Yeah.
There's if I want something, I'm going to, just like that radio. If I want it, I am going to get it. It doesn't even matter what it could be on another planet. It's gonna happen. And I just kept pursuing it, and as I was pursuing it, I was starting to understand that, like, cause at first I was just trying to make music, and that wasn't working. And then one of my guys was like, man, you really should talk about what you live in, because I was living in the real time, and I was just like, yeah, that would be. But now you got to think about the consequences that come with that, because I'm still living that life. So it's like, no different from where we say the kids put all the crazy stuff on the internet. Right now, it's the same thing, right? But it just wasn't that type of time. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to talk about it the way I know how to talk about it, but in code. And what I realized is, as in talking about it in code, so when we talk on the phone, we don't talk like regular. We talk street lingo. So that way you won't get caught up and get no cases. So now I'm putting the street lingo in the music, and then who is the street lingo resonating with? The street people. And they're going, he one of us, because they feel what I'm saying, because this is what they're doing every day. And that's when my career started to start moving a little bit. And then me being a hustler and knowing how to market, I went in, sat down with this guy, DJ Drama, and me and Drama sat down and we put out my first mixtape together, which was Streets Was Watching. So instead of selling it, because that's what everybody's doing, selling music out of their trunks, I just took the hustling mentality, and I was like, I'm just gonna give it away. So I pressed up like 200,000 copies and just gave them away for the next few months. And the first time I gave them away was at this big concert in Atlanta called the Birthday Bash. It's like our summer jam. It's like huge, 20, 30,000 people.
Yes.
And so I went out there with my team, and we just passed the CDs out to everybody. You know what I'm saying? And kept doing that, kept doing that, kept doing that. And I started to get some buzz. And then I was like, yo, I'm going to do another tape. And this tape, I'm going to call it Trap or Die. But this time I'm going to press up 500,000. And we pressed up 500,000, and sure enough, we just kept giving them out, giving them out, giving them out, giving them out, until one day they called me for a show at this club, one of the clubs that we was giving out on the east side of Atlanta. And they only paid me $200, but it was a show. You know what I'm saying? I'd never been paid for music before. I've been always spending my money in music. And it started there subtly. And as Trap or Die came out, I put a DVD with it, and because people didn't know what I looked like. Right, and I put a DVD of all this stuff that I had been doing, just running around, my guy had the big old school camcorders, and I just put the footage together and put this DVD out. And when I knew I was on something, I would go to my partners to their houses where they was like hustling at, and they would be watching it on the screen. I'd be like, yo, like, y'all know me, why y'all watch? He's like, yo, this is crazy, and I'm like, Oh, I'm standing there with them watching me.
And they were supportive, not jealous.
I don't think supportive is the word. I don't think they can believe what was going on.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because I was very quiet.
Yeah.
I've always been reserved. Like, I've always been the type of person to come in the room and I'm going to listen more than I speak, right? And I'm going to always assess the situation.
Mm-hmm.
But now you're seeing me, I'm talking, I'm saying stuff, you know what I mean? Like, I'm charismatic, but nobody really knew that. You know what I mean? Because I was always about my business. So they was captivated. And I started to see it there, and then I would be out in the mall, and I used to wear this like big chain that said Jeezy. I used to always wear like basketball, football jerseys that I had made with my name on the back because I was marketing myself.
Right.
And everybody just started walking up to me in the mall, and I'll be in the club, and it felt like somebody was paying them to come be like, yo, I love your music, because it just felt so weird. I never had nobody approach me like that. And after Trapper died, that's when it started. Like, that's when I started to understand, like, okay, this is going to be something different. And I immediately went in and started working on Thug Motivation, which was my first debut album. And I think Thug Motivation did like 3 million. And I started working on it myself, like, meaning like I was paying for everything still before I got the Def Jam deal. And so I got a deal with Def Jam, and I got a deal with Bad Boy because I was in a group called Boys in the Hood. So all this was happening simultaneously. Now, mind you, as this is happening, you know, this is like the first piece of success I had. I came out on a major label, which was Def Jam, sold over 3 million records. All this is happening, right? But I'm going through every war, you might as well think I was in Afghanistan, because as I'm coming into success, that's when the jealousy started, right? And it was just like, you know, it was a lot, because I was so well plugged into the streets that, you know, I was the guy. So everybody in the street knew me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it was just like, that was a battle, you know. If I'd had Think and Grow Rich back then, I'd have been good. You know what I'm saying? Because I know how to navigate it. But with all the trauma, what do?
Yeah.
You push back, right? Because that's where you come from. You're like, I ain't about to play with me like that. So it's that back and forth, building more trauma.
Did you feel isolated in that moment?
I started to isolate myself, because I started to notice that if I didn't move like strategically and militant, that I don't know if I would be sitting here right now. So I just had to start maneuvering. But I was always smart though, so I always had a lot of sense. So I just knew how to do things, right?
So what do you mean you don't know if you'd be sitting here right now?
I mean, just, you know, it was those type of situations. Yeah, it was real. I'm not gonna,
Streets.
Yeah, it was real life.
Yeah.
You know, do or die.